is the Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Thank you, Natalie. Good evening, everybody. Jeff Cate Justin Sims coming back live from our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Game of the Week. And the final score, once again, was Silverdale 28 and CCS 7. We want to thank you all for joining us and staying tuned right here to the Top Monster during the entire 3 hours of the Coca-Cola Red Zone. So, again, 267-1023. You can call or text that number. Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime is powered by 12 Point Logistics, and we'll hear more about Gunnar Miller and his team coming up later on in this edition of Overtime. So let's go ahead and bring our guest in here, Justin Sims, and that is Jaxson Carsten and Cannon Rogers from the Silverdale Seahawks. Again, victorious over CCS 28-7. And gentlemen, thank you for hanging around with us and talking with us, and just how we doing tonight, and give us your overall thoughts on the game tonight and big win over CCS, Jaxson.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Big win. We talked about brotherhood a lot this week, and just like doing it as a team, 1-11. We talked about you can't win a game by yourself. It has to be a whole team effort, and I feel like we executed tonight.
Now, obviously, the first half, you specifically, I think you had 3 first-half sacks and the forced fumble in the second half. Did you see anything on film that kind of gave you like, hey, I can win my battles with the guy against me up front?
Not really much watching film, but it was more just I worked my hands a lot this week. I've been struggling with that a lot. I know my speed is one of my keys, so I thought implementing my hands a lot, push, pull, and it worked out. It worked today. So
let's throw it over to you, Cannon. Offensively, you had a pretty solid night, 85 yards. I think is what we had the tally, and 2 touchdowns there. So kind of talk about your performance on the offensive side of the ball tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I just really have to give a shout-out to my quarterback. On my touchdown pass, he threw it right where the defender couldn't get to it. And on the other one, he called the play for me to get in the end zone. And I just can't thank my O-line enough for protecting him long enough to get me the ball.
Talk about that, because one thing we noticed when we were kind of looking over you guys and your team, a lot of experience up front on the offensive side of the ball. I think 4 upperclassmen out of the 5 starters, so a lot of experience there, a lot of trust with Connor and you and your wide receivers. Kind of talk about just how that relationship develops in the offseason and even during the week when you are getting ready to play a game.
Oh yeah, in the offseason we're all about it. We're all about each other, and we can't do anything without the other person. And I think our offense really implements that. And they just have such brotherhood with each other that, even if we do mess up, they're always there at our back telling us we got the next play. And I think that's a really big thing that helps us win, is how we treat each other every play to play.
Justin, go ahead.
All right, thick part of the schedule. Y'all get to get up back to back to back to back here. It's kind of like a revenge tour. You took out Webb. This CCS game last year wasn't competitive. Let's talk about the Bucks. You got them coming up Friday. What's it going to take to get a big win off a tough team?
Right. We mentioned the start of this week, laser focus. We talked about it doesn't matter about the score on the scoreboard or the numbers in the middle. We're just focusing on the now and one play after another. It's never for granted. I know the third quarter, Ethan Lee went down, and hopefully he's all right. We're praying for him. But it shows you never know when your last snap is. So always giving it your all. And it's just if you give it 110% every play, then
you got it. So talk about that last touchdown. You don't ever give up touchdowns, but when you give up a score at the end of the games, it kind of make you a little bit extra mad, or you just happy to get the win there.
Right. It does hurt a little bit having held at 0. It's always nice to have a shutout, but I feel like end of the game we kind of just declined a little bit on the energy. I feel like we knew the outcome, which we try to focus on it now. So we did get a little carried away, but we still secured the win.
We are joined by Jaxson Carsten and Cannon Rogers from the Silverdale Seahawks right here on the Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime, powered by 12 Point Logistics on Talk 102.3. And Cannon, I want to ask you, obviously you said that Connor called the play on one of your touchdowns there. What would be your favorite route to run at wide receiver? Is something over in the corner, post pattern? Which one do you like when your number gets called?
My favorite route is the one I get the ball on.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I like it.
Yeah, no, just great performance, guys. A well-spoken job. We appreciate y'all coming over, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Justin, we definitely saw these two guys contribute right here, and just a big win for the Seahawks and Coach Connor's team, and another big opportunity coming up on the road next week against Boyd Buchanan for sure.
Yeah, like we talked to, man, it's a super tough stretch. You take out a Webb team in a close battle last week. Like you said, you get a revenge tour. I mean, this game was not competitive last year. Always, when these teams get together, this is Boyd Buchanan, CCS, Silverdale, triumphant. There's a lot of bad blood, a lot of ill will towards each other. So, for them to get up week after week, and very impressed with that defense tonight, man. They show up with ill intention. Some of those sacks that young man had, I had to bring it up with him tonight, but he took the quarterback down almost with a little bit extra oomph there at the end. And, shout out to that young man for popping back up and staying in there tough for CCS. But very impressed with this Silverdale team. I think that we are in the running. We have a discussion to make about this game of the week next week, because I think this Boyd Buchanan team is good, but this Silverdale team's got something for them. So I expect a heck of a matchup next Friday with these two.
Yeah, and we're looking through some of these stats. I want to thank Patrick McCoon from the Chattanooga Times Free Press, who, by the way, Justin Sims was wearing a Coca-Cola Red Zone 30th anniversary shirt tonight. So I think he understood the assignment. So we appreciate McCoon for doing that.
Absolutely.
And sending us some of these stats. As we mentioned, Cannon Rogers had 85 total yards offensively, 2 touchdowns. Landon Deitch, the tailback for the Seahawks, 17 carries, 85 yards. So, definitely a good way to kind of mix it up, and being able to find, Connor's able to find Rogers down the field on those 2 touchdowns for sure. And as we mentioned, Carsten, 3 first-half sacks. I think one of those was actually on that first possession. After the short punt on Silverdale's first possession, giving CCS great field position inside the 40 of Silverdale. They're able to hold him there, third down, get a big sack, and Silverdale went down and scored on their second possession to kind of get things rolling there for the Seahawks. And if you're looking at CCS, Ezra, I think it's double DUBLE, 11 catches, 107 yards. So, but yeah, you could just tell. I mean, Silverdale was ready to rock and roll, and definitely, I think you brought up the fact that this game wasn't competitive last year. I'm sure that was circled pretty heavily with a Sharpie. Kind of looking at this one, as you mentioned, the revenge tour for sure. So we'll see if they're able to make it the third stop on the revenge tour next week at Boyd Buchanan. So, but again, big win here for the Seahawks, and just give us your overall thoughts on the game. Obviously, like we mentioned, these two young men were definitely battling out there, talking about their teammate who did go down with an injury. We're definitely giving our thoughts and prayers to that young man as well. So you can definitely tell it is what they both just mentioned. Definitely a brotherhood here at SBA for sure.
Yeah, that's always a scary situation. You kind of wonder how teams respond. We've seen some teams come out flat after injuries, or losing a player in kind of it wasn't a traumatic fashion. It was kind of a clutter injury there, and a kid goes off, and you don't really know if he's hurt real bad or not. But the team got up, they played defense, but overall, just impressive with his defense, their ability to stretch the field with Cannon, different players. And yes, those sacks, I know 2 of his 3 were on third down. One of them was inside the 20. Just clutch third down sacks, clutch defensive plays all around. And you got a little sloppy down here. Like I said, there was a punt block, there was a fumble. I think CCS fumbles it, and then so it kind of goes back and forth. But all in all, clean game, not a lot of penalties, and 2 impressive teams. I think the numbers-wise on CCS, I think was an advantage for Silverdale. They leaned on them a little bit and kept the pressure up, were able to put numbers out there. But 2 good teams, and yeah, I think this Silverdale team's. There's something for Boyd to be as good as they are and beating teams as bad as they are. I think we might be getting a real nasty one next week with these two when they hook up.
Well, if you're looking, like we said from last year, this was a shutout win for the Buccaneers, and they've had 2 shutouts so far on the season, getting a 52-0 win against Franklin Christian tonight. So tall order for the Seahawks, but I think it's definitely going to be a better game than that 48-0 score last year.
I will say Silverdale did receive some votes last week. I think they might be another one of our area teams that squeezes in that top 10 in their in their region there.
Yep.
And well deserving.
And as you mentioned, I think Boyd Buchanan is number 2 in Division II AA.
I believe so,
behind CPA.
Two or four, something like that.
No surprise there with CPA leading the charge there for sure. So before I throw it back to the studio, just want to talk about our friends over at 12 Point Logistics. Based in Dayton, Tennessee, 12 Point Logistics and Transportation is your trusted partner for comprehensive freight solutions. Whether you're looking for expert transportation management, seamless brokerage services, or specialized big and bulky final mile deliveries, they have you covered. Their white glove delivery service includes professional installation and warehousing options tailored to meet your needs. 12 Point Logistics prides themselves on turning your logistical challenges into streamlined, efficient solutions. At 12 Point, they buy your problems and deliver solutions, ensuring your business runs smoothly from start to finish. If you're ready to solve your logistics challenges, call Gunnar Miller at 423-206-9235. You can also visit them online at 12pointlogistics.com. 12 Point Logistics and Transportation, your local freight brokerage and final mile white glove solution. So, again, final score from our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics game of the week: Silverdale 28, CCS 7. Guys, back to you.
Jeff, thank you. Great job, guys. We'll come back out to you shortly.
And welcome back to our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics game of the week. Again, final score: Silverdale 28, CCS 7. And we are now pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Silverdale Seahawks, Mike Connor. And Coach, thank you for sticking around with us to talk with us here on Red Zone Overtime, powered by 12 Point Logistics. Give us your overall thoughts, I guess. Let's just start there. Your team's performance tonight came out strong defensively. I think 3 first-half sacks by Carsten, and kind of set the tone there. Offensively got going as well, and got a big win over a region rival.
Yeah, anytime you can win against a region opponent like CCS, who's, over the last 5-6 years has been really strong in our region. That's a great thing for your program as you continue to try to build a program. And our guys played hard. Love to see them play a little more consistent, but we played well enough to get the outcome that we wanted.
Obviously, you got a tough stretch with Webb last week, CCS this week. Obviously, you got the Bear and Boyd Buchanan next week. Is there any different, or do you have any expectation of energy level like dropping or being different? And you got to get up for these high level competitions week after week.
Yeah, our first 5 games really a big gauntlet. Last year we went through this series of games and we were 0-5. Played really hard, but just couldn't make things happen. And so it's the same gauntlet. And we've been fortunate that we're a little more mature. We've been able to handle it a little bit better and obviously got some outcomes. But in terms of energy level, it's the same. It's a common opponent. We all know that every time we step on the field, the teams that we're competing against are always usually better than us on paper, and we got to bring our best every time. And so the energy level is always going to be there.
Justin mentioned this when we had Cannon and Jackson here with us. It's kind of like almost the revenge tour, right? We should make a T-shirt for sure. So like you mentioned, you 0-5 last year. Now you're off to a 2-0 start against these teams. So kind of talk about the team and kind of how they bought in and know that, hey, we can go toe-to-toe with these guys and now we can beat them.
Yeah, so every year, once we finish our season, we do what we call an autopsy, and we really try to do a deep dive into every aspect of our program. And one of the glaring things that came out of last season was just a lack of discipline, which is really uncharacteristic of our guys typically. But with this group of kids, that was the big deal. So we spent a lot of time this summer doing various activities to try to pinpoint and kind of laser their focus on what does it mean to be disciplined. And because of some of that and them embracing those processes, we're getting better outcomes. And we're a year older. These guys were all playing last year, getting their face beat in as freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, and so they're a year older, and that's helped us. That experience has helped us.
And the team was able to get it done. You had turnover caused by the kickoff. Defense causes turnovers. Offense. Just talk about the overall team performance and but all 3 phases kind of played a factor today.
Yeah, we're continuing to improve, and I'm glad you brought up just all 3 phases because it really takes all 3 phases of the game to be excellent in those games to give yourself a chance to win, particularly when you're playing better opponents. And with CCS, they're younger than they have been. They don't have necessarily as many explosive athletes, but I'm telling you that culture is different, and those kids are playing with a different motivation than some of the teams I've faced in the past from them. And you gotta win the ball game in all three phases of the game, and if you can win the turnover battle in those type games, you're going to have a chance to win it.
Now, obviously, you've been here for a few years now as the head coach and being on staff here at Silverdale. Kind of talk about just from your first time stepping foot on campus to now. Talk about just kind of the things and how they're improving, because we talked about on Tuesday when you joined us on Off the Bench Radio. There's new construction going on right here behind us here in the end zone, so it's pretty cool to see. I mean, literally growing on and off the field here.
Yeah, I think we're growing. Obviously, you see the facility changes. We have waiting lists, people trying to get in to the academy at every grade level. People come because they see a product. And I think football and some of our other athletics is just a window into what that product is in the academy. And, we're seeing a big movement, particularly with our students and just their spiritual maturity, which is unfortunately uncommon in Christian schools. And I think that has a impact on just some of the greater growth outside of our academy.
Well, obviously, Coach, thanks again for coming back over here, after, a pretty eventful night, big win for you in the program. Good luck next week against Boyd Buchanan and the rest of the year, and appreciate you guys making room for us here to be a part of this Coca-Cola Red Zone Center for Sports Medicine Game of the Week.
Well, I always appreciate when you guys come over. It's been a good run with you guys, by the way.
Well, hey, back to back. We have the hardware here right here in front of us here at the table. So you got the 30th anniversary Red Zone helmet last year. That was a big win at Signal Mountain last year. I think we can take credit for the turnaround of getting you guys to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So maybe this will be another turnaround. Get things going and keep it moving for the Seahawks. So enjoy that. Congratulations once again, and we'll be back for sure.
Appreciate it.
Good game, Coach. Thanks.
All right, guys, we're going to throw it back to the studio, but once again, final score from our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Game of the Week, Silverdale 28, CCS 7. And this is, again, Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime, powered by 12 Point Logistics. I want to thank everybody for tuning in during this. If you're on your way home from a game, thank you for doing that. And just, supporting the Red Zone for 31-plus years, going on 31 years now this year. So, Justin, we were talking off air, we're talking with Coach Connor, and really, the difference in the game, really the turning point, we think, obviously, was, Silverdale was up 14-0 late in the first half. CCS had an opportunity to cut the lead in half. They had the ball inside the 10, throw that interception at the goal line, and then on the ensuing second half kickoff, like we mentioned earlier, during overtime, Hollingsworth was not able to corral the second half kickoff. Silverdale recovers, they score a touchdown, and that's pretty much the difference in the game, I think, right there.
It wasn't really a onside kick so much. It was just kind of like a squib down the middle. It knuckled ball out. It bounced off of his hand, and it was a perfect kick, really, because if he doesn't field it, it probably dies inside the 5, and if he does field, just perfect play. But yeah, those, you talk about it all the time. The end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third, and the Seahawks capitalized, and they ran away with it then. And of both teams, they were the least sloppy, and they had the bigger, more physical team up front, and it proved their way to the victory tonight.
Absolutely. And again, final score from our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Game of the Week, the Silverdale Seahawks 28 and the Chattanooga Christian Chargers 7. And we'll throw it back to you guys for our last final break, and we'll have some final thoughts, I think, before we sign off at 11 o'clock. So definitely stay tuned for that, and we'll throw it back to you guys.
And we'll go out to Jeff and Justin now for the Red Zone, Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime, for some final thoughts powered by 12 Point Logistics.
Thank you very much, guys, and welcome back into Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime, powered by 12 Point Logistics, right here on Talk 102.3. Again, final score, if you missed it, from our Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Game of the Week, Silverdale 28 and CCS 7. Justin, just a few final thoughts. We're looking over next week's schedule mainly, and, man, I see a three-pack already of games that are definitely Center for Sports Medicine, Orthopedics Game of the Week nominees. Obviously, you got Sequatchie County with the big win against South Pitt tonight. They take on Marion County next week. what's wrong with Marion County, right? They gave up their first points of the year tonight, but that should be a barn burner there. And obviously the two region matchups we mentioned throughout the show here: Red Bank Signal Mountain over at Red Bank Community Stadium, and then Silverdale traveling to Boyd Buchanan. So we're getting into the meat of the region schedules across the area, and as I say, big boy football for sure. So thoughts on just any surprises tonight and what we're looking at next week between, especially those three matchups specifically?
Yeah, it should be a lot. It's going to be tough picking game of the week next week. Obviously, 3 or 4 good ones. Chat Prep keeps rolling. Another 40-point shutout victory.
Huge win for the Sentinels.
In the midst of what could be a 3 or 4 or 5 game win streak leading up to that South Pittsburgh game.
And you've been saying on Off the Bench Radio on Tuesday nights, you've been saying, hey, watch out, South Pitt. Chat Prep's coming, because we're looking at that October 18th. And again, we'll mention again, October 18th, South Pittsburgh hosts Chat Prep. So we'll definitely see what happens.
And really, that whole week there's 2 weeks. You got Chat Prep, South Pitt, and then they take on Whitwell the following week. So, circle that Chat Prep late in the season. They get through this next gauntlet. They obviously got a tough Hickson team coming up, and but yeah, just a lot. That shutout's impressive to me. And then, I think this Boyd Buchanan Silverdale thing is going to get nasty next week, and we'll see if Red Bank, that athletic, talented Red Bank defense, can keep up with this Signal Mountain Mariaka's called kind of triple option wing tee that they've got back there, and a lot of interesting matchups in the middle of these games that are also very, very good talent-wise.
And we'll have it for you wherever we go for our game of the week, and we'll have all the updates from the other ones in studio. So, definitely a good night here, a big win for the Seahawks, and we want to thank Jaxson Carsten, Coach Mike Carner, and Cannon Rogers, big contributors there for Rogers and Carsten as well. So I want to thank each and every one of them, in addition to Glenn Carter from Central and Walker Valley's Drew Akins for joining us during the program as well. Definitely an action-packed show. You guys did a great job in the studio, and we need to have more, like we mentioned in the group text, we need to have more of these rain games, only solely for the purpose of Red Zone programming alone. So we should definitely do that for sure. But great. It's been a great addition of the Red Zone. It's definitely a pleasure to be a part of this team, and being able to do this new format, Coca-Cola Red Zone Overtime, powered by 12 Point Logistics. And again, I want to thank Gunnar Miller and his team for partnering with us on that, in addition to our season-long partners as well. But again, for the final time, Center for Sports Medicine Orthopedics Game of the Week, final score, Silverdale 28 and CCS 7.